civilization.
I've been talking about the achievements of the 19th century, and they were impressive. Now I want to talk about its conflicts. These were generational conflicts, social conflicts, which were the dark side of the century's material triumphs, national conflicts, and international ones, including bitter colonial friction. It's a story no less exciting than that of the Industrial Revolution, because it too is the story of upheaval, social revolution, national revolution, and their international counterparts, the 18th century's legacy to the 19th. Every age lives in the shadow of the past, even if it doesn't know it. The 19th century lived in the shadow of the 18th, and it was very strongly aware of this. The politics of the 19th century, the ideas that moved or repelled it, were the fallout of revolution. And revolution was its constant point of reference, very often its constant experience. The wars of the French Revolution and Napoleon began in 1792 and ended in 1815 at Waterloo, when Napoleon was finally defeated by the British with Prussian help. The great powers were determined to avoid another ordeal on this scale, and the Congress system they set up kept war from spreading beyond localized conflicts for a long, long time. But political disorder had come to stay. For the next 40 years or so, there wasn't a single year in the Western world, from Poland to Peru, without revolutions, rebellions, insurrections, some of them very bloody indeed. Waterloo or no Waterloo, not all the king's horses nor all the king's men could put the old regime together again. The revolutionary agenda rose like the tablets of the law before the peoples of Europe and the Americas, and the revolutionary agenda seemed unending. The American Revolution, then the French, had proclaimed two astonishing notions, both of them new in the experience of Europeans. The first was that they could make war against their rulers. The American colonists, after all, had used violence to get rid of their British king, and the French had used violence to get rid of their monarchy, and then they had gone on to overthrow or humiliate the ruling dynasties of all of Europe. This kind of thing, on this kind of scale, had never happened before in European history. The notion that subjects could make successful war against their hereditary rulers opened up similar political possibilities in the 19th century that nuclear weapons opened up in the 20th century, and they were just as unsettling. Within a lifetime of Waterloo, Latin America had fought itself free of Portugal and Spain. Greece had fought itself free of the Turks. The Belgians had set up their own independent kingdom. Italians, Poles, Canadians, Swiss, Danes, Germans, Spaniards, Portuguese had produced insurrections, not to mention the French, who changed rulers several times, and the English, who tried hard to do so but failed. The second notion that came out of this era of revolution reinforced the first, a political philosophy that justified the war of subjects against rulers. The revolutions in France and in America had not just succeeded. You could also justify them on moral grounds. It was this claim that they were just and righteous acts that made revolutions respectable. Before this, rebellion had been a crime, generally looked on as the ultimate civil and moral crime. But Americans and French claimed that they were not criminals at all. They were standard bearers of a new philosophy of man. They seemed to suggest that all attempts to overthrow a king by violence were good because practically all kings were evil. But above all, because the institution of kingship was evil. And this view affected increasing numbers of ordinary, respectable people who would have kept well away from revolutionaries in earlier times.